point a small telescope at Saturn tonight, and there they are. The most famous rings in the sky, bright and sharp and looking like they have been there forever. But look closely, because you are staring at something that is quietly falling apart. Right now, the rings are raining into the planet. Tiny grains of ice pick up a charge, catch Saturn's magnetic field, and slide down into the atmosphere, where they simply vanish. Scientists call it ring rain, and it is not a trickle. Enough water is falling out of the rings to fill an Olympic swimming pool every half hour. So, how do we know all this? A spacecraft called Cassini spent 13 years at Saturn, and for its finale, it did something no probe had ever tried. 22 times, it threaded the narrow gap between the planet and the innermost ring, flying closer than anything before it, gathering the numbers on its way down. As it fell, Saturn's gravity tugged on the spacecraft, and that tiny tug let scientists weigh the rings for the first time. The answer was a shock. All of it together weighs only about 40% of Mimas, one of Saturn's little moons. A band of ice stretching wider than the distance to our own moon, almost pure water ice, yet, in places, only about 10 meters thick. Dazzling and barely there. Put those two facts together, barely any ice, steadily draining away, and you get a clock. From the ring rain alone, the rings would empty out in about 300 million years. And the ice that Cassini caught falling straight onto the equator, and the estimates dropped to under 100 million. NASA called that the worst case. Either way, on the scale of the solar system, the rings are running out. But here is the honest part. That the rings are draining, we can measure. How old they are, we genuinely argue about. All that clean, light ice makes them look young, maybe only a few 100 million years old, born long after the dinosaurs. Yet, a recent study says they could be nearly as old as Saturn itself and only look young because the draining keeps washing the dirt away. The disappearing is real. The birthday is still a mystery. And do not panic. 100 million years is longer than there have been flowers on Earth, far longer than our whole species will likely last. Saturn has been circling the Sun for more than 4 billion years. Against a clock like that, these rings are not forever. They are a brief, brilliant chapter, and it just happens to be playing while we are here to look up. So the next time you catch Saturn in a telescope, sitting inside those bright, impossible rings, remember what you are actually seeing. Not a permanent fixture of the sky. A moment. A spectacular, disappearing now, and you were here for it.